to start this off with a little bit of a thought experiment, because I'm going to share with you a lot of tactics, a lot of stuff, but I also want you to be aware of it, like the power of it. Let's imagine we have two different guys. Guy number one, imagine this is you in your world, in your situation, but he's out of shape, he has low energy, not the best diet, and not as confident as he could be, right? And then assuming same job, 2 kids, similar life situations, but just that's the difference. And then you have the other guy, is in great shape, has high energy all day, healthy and balanced diet, and is remarkably confident. So who do you think is going to have a better career, will perform better at what they do, will have a better life, happier life, and who is ultimately going to make more money? And what I'm going to show you today, I'm going to walk you through. So first of all, super simple and directly implementable steps. The diet, how does a high performer nourish himself? How does a training look like of a high performer for maximum time efficiency and effectiveness? How to maximize your energy, because obviously low energy sucks. How to do the 20% that will give you 80% of the results, maximum efficiency, right? We're of course also going to answer the questions like I already said, and we're also going to have some time for Q&A. My name is Robin. I'm a health and body transformation coach to CEOs, high-level executives, entrepreneurs, you name it, right? People with a tight schedule. In the meantime, I transformed already 130 high-performing men. I use everything that I do is based on the latest scientific knowledge combined with real-life experience, right? So this doesn't mean I'm a theorist, but we actually work what has proven to work and how can we implement that into real-life experience. Inside our program, the implementations that we do, like usually on average, people lose like 10 kilos in 4 months with a 98% success rate. Essentially, one of the favorite things I do is show them how to eat pizza and still remain fit, because we want to have a balance in life. We want to still be able to enjoy ourselves. And why I'm doing this is because I went through the whole same thing. I was also the guy number one that you saw in the first place, not as healthy, not as confident, not into shape, and been able to completely transform myself, and did that with a couple hundred guys too. And to not only show you who am I, let's say from a professional aspect, to also give you a little bit, born and raised in Switzerland, so you also get to know me a little bit outside. I'm a digital nomad since 2021, so I haven't had a fixed place where I live. I have a little bit of a side hustle as a restaurant critique, more of a joke, but I love pizza, I love waffles, and funny enough, also broccoli. Weird trait, I know. Coffee, I don't know about you guys, but coffee has to be drunk black. I attended Burning Man 2024, which has been one of the craziest experiences that I've ever had in my life. If you ever get the chance, highly, highly recommend it. And currently tuning in from Playa del Carmen, Mexico. So just as a little bit of a highlight so you get to know who's actually talking to me. What I'm going to share with you today is going to work 100%. So this is stuff that I do with my paid clients. You don't have to be perfect, right? I'm going to show you a lot of things, but you don't have to do everything to start seeing benefits. Really important. And also the importance of 60% of effort, of success over 6 months will get you further than 100% for 2 weeks. We will get into that, but like I said, the 20% that will get you 80% of the results. So without much further ado, let's get into it. The diet of a high performer. For you to understand, like, where do you put nutrition? Like, how important is it actually? So imagine yourself like your favorite sports car. I don't know, Lamborghini Aventador, AMG McLaren, whatever it is. You can have the best engine in the world. You can have the best mechanic working on that, which would Kareem in that sense. But if you're not fueling that car with the right gas, with the premium stuff, at some point it's going to hit a wall. At some point it's going to run down, and even the best mechanic probably won't fix that engine, right? So we have to make sure we have a certain control of the fuel that we're putting inside our body. Now, how does that look like? I'm going to give you some high-level tactics and high-level implementations. 80% whole foods and 20% whatever you like, right? Whole foods means single ingredient foods. So a pizza wouldn't count as that, obviously. But everything that is single, that is grown, that is a single ingredient, that hasn't been going through multiple processes, right? Because what we want to get out of that, and primarily the compounds, is 2 to 4 meals a day is completely fine. You don't need to have more. 2 to 4 meals a day. Like on average, myself, I do 4. Most of my clients do 3. That's solely. Kareem asking a whole food meat, yeah, that will count too. Not sausages. I'm sure a few guys are into that. But that's where you get through a little bit of more processing, but single ingredient food. So when you look at the package, it only says bell pepper or potato or oats or peanuts, right? Whatever it is. High in protein, because you need to fuel your body the right way. High protein, like the guideline recommendations that the nutrition societies give out, they're a little bit too low. They're okay for like aging and not like dying too early. But if you want to optimize, we're not talking about minimizing the chance of dying early. We're talking about optimization. Has to be high protein. So in general, if you're looking to build muscle, that's one of the primary goals. 1.6 grams per kilograms per body weight. Just for simplicity, if you're 100 kilos and if your main goal is to build muscle, then that means you have to eat 160 grams of protein per day. If you're looking to lose fat, that needs to be a little bit higher. So in that case, I would be more from 1.6, more closer to 2 grams, right? So again, and if you're overweight, then the calculation comes a little bit differently. And you have to take your ideal body weight, because just for like an extreme example, somebody's 200 kilos and then takes 2 grams of protein, that's like 400 grams of protein. Obviously, that's not going to do the trick. So let's say you're 100 kilo and your ideal weight is 90 kilos, just for example. So it wouldn't be 200 grams. It would be more like 180 grams of your ideal body weight. High in fiber. So these are the two compounds. Protein and fiber are the two essential compounds. Fiber is essentially a nutrient that is most overseen in nutrition and also in fitness, but is one of the most health-promoting nutrients that even exists. Fiber, where does it come from? Fiber exclusively only comes in plants, right? So this is basically the protection of the starch, a little bit about it. It's good for your digestion. It's essential for your immune system and essential for your performance. So think every whole plant food. So that means fruits, veggies, whole grains like potatoes, oats, brown rice, and low in saturated fats, trans fats. Saturated fats you usually find in processed meats, in fatty cheese, like basically every animal product that has a high fat content has usually saturated fats. This is what to be avoided, plus the trans fats. Because if you remember two things, there are a lot of gurus out there online, like doing these guys, sure. Like they go to the supermarket and they're like taking some random product and they're like, oh, see, it has cornstarch and cellulose and whatever. Like in 90% of the cases, you don't have to worry about that. But the only thing that I want you to pay attention to that really matters is saturated and trans fats. Saturated fats, like I said, in high-fat animal products, and trans fats is usually in baked goods, everything that has been, like oil, basically, that has been highly heated. And this is basically the type of fat that will give you high blood pressure, makes you more likely to be overweight, risk of type 2 diabetes, all that sort of stuff. So these are the things that you really have to take a little bit in the eye. Moderate in carbs, whole food starches. Like I said, you don't have to go high carb, or you also don't want you to go low carb. Low carb is not a high performance diet, but enough that you're not falling into like a food coma and like you get sleepy, like all of us have that had, right? You had a big meal, good pizza, and afterwards you're just like, sounds very common. So that means a moderate portion. I'm going to share with you how that looks like right after. So you give, as I said, this is going to be more high level. I'll give you exact overviews how that will look like just after that. And what I want to do, just to remember, I'll give you by the end of this, all of you, you'll get access to some of my best resources, including, for example, here, the Fit Executive Checklist is 21 proven hacks to burn belly fat, get in shape, and stay healthy long-term. You'll all get access to that. And what I just went through on a high level note, you will have it more deeply explained and more tactically explained so you can directly implement that. Because I know nutrition is a very complicated topic. There's a lot of misinformation out there, but I made it sure that I broke it down into the most essential things that you need to know in order to stay healthy, to perform at your best, and also get in great shape. All right. So all of you, stay tuned when I'm going to rock this. So nutrition, right? Really, really key. Now, of course, also training. I'm sure a lot of you want to know about training. How does training look like? What type of training do I have to do? If you had to pick one type of training, you name it, cardio, strength, high intensity intervals, running, the single most health beneficial. If you had to pick only one, get the biggest bang, it's 100% resistance training, lifting weights, body weight, anything that challenges your muscles under load, basically. Because if you do that right, you will also get the benefits of cardio. If you have a high intensity resistance training, it will also train your heart. Of course, would it be additionally healthy if you also did some cardio or, I don't know, some boxing, some martial arts for your health, for your brain? Of course. But in here, I want to show you, if you only had to do one and pick only one, this is the one that I would do, right? So 2 to 3 times is more than you need. More is welcomed, but resistance training is the only type of exercise that can help you lower your body fat, increase your strength, increase your longevity, decrease your risk of metabolic diseases, of degenerative diseases, everything from type 2 diabetes to high blood pressure to all that sort of stuff. Cardio does that also to a degree, but there's literally, that's the crazy thing. There is no single thing in this world that has so many health benefits than resistance training. Nothing. Hard to believe, but it's true. People in their 80s, like a lot of their old people, they don't die necessarily because of their age. What they usually die of is when they lose their muscle, when they lose, when they become more fragile and all of that. And then they fall because as a result of that. And because they fall, they can't walk anymore and they can't move anymore and they don't recover anymore. That's in a lot of the cases actually like why they're dying. Of course, chronic diseases and all of that is also like a very big part. That's why I say resistance training, one thing on, this is the way to go. Compound exercises, so we don't have to do like 100 biceps curls only. Compound exercises means effective multi-joint, multi-movement exercises, right? Like a bench press, like a pull-up, like a deadlift, like a squat. You don't need to, isometrically isolate this part of your arm into like single arm stuff like that. We can all do that, and like the pros and somebody who wants to become a bodybuilder can do that, but it's not the most efficient time of our use of our time. What also goes into training is 6,000 to 10,000 steps a day. Anything below 6,000 will put you at an increased risk of mortality. You're gonna die sooner. And an easy way to check that, all of you have a phone or an iPhone or maybe even an Apple Watch or something like that. You can set a step goal per day. You can keep an overview because the iPhone, for example, like tracks your steps very accurately. You don't need a Fitbit, you don't need anything like that. But 6,000 is the minimum. 8,000 is a good spot. 10,000 will be ideal. You can also do a little bit more, but like I said, 6,000, anything less will have health complications down the road, right? Like I said, cardio is ideal, but optional. The best combo that I found that I also do for myself, and that especially with my most advanced clients, is like 2 to 3 lifts, or if you can do more. Like I train 4, maybe 5 times a week, lifting weights, and then plus on top 1 or 2 times a week, explosive sports. But it can also be 2 lifts a week, 2 sessions, let's say in the gym, and 1 time something explosive. Something like sprints, martial arts, Muay Thai. Something where you have to create force and speed. Not only like bluntly lifting weights, which is also of course great, but something that keeps your explosivity up. Really, really cool. And what I just shared with you, like I said, I could go so deep into every single topic and explain you the mechanism and all of that. I think the easiest way is like I'm going to give you a high level overview, plus then afterwards I give you actual tools to implement that right away. So you're also going to get access to my busy body workout. It only requires your body weight and a few dumbbells. And if you do that, it's a little bit more on the intro beginner side of things. Of course, the more advanced you get, the more adjustments you have to do. And of course, the more tailored the plan looks like. But if you're just starting out, or if you're like in your beginning and you had some on and off time, like you've been consistent a little bit and then you've like lost it a little bit, this here will help you guide through that and give you something to hold on to. Because it's a full body routine. It will train all your relevant muscle groups and also in a fashion, and this is the type of training that I do with my clients, it's compound resistance training combined with antagonistic supersets. Sounds very complicated, but what it essentially does is it almost cuts your workout time in half. So most of my clients actually only work out like 30, maybe 40 minutes in the gym. Everything in this document then will be explained. You have a little video that will explain the whole thing for you. You have all the exercises, how many sets to do, how many reps, what to focus on with an example. And like I said, like you can literally go in and out the gym in 30 minutes and be more effective than the people who spend 2 hours in the gym and in the end then throw another like an hour on the treadmill on top, right? Because that's freaking bullshit. We want to be efficient. We want to be time efficient and effective. This is what that is also like what you're going to get access to. Now, energy. We have a bit on nutrition where you get more tools. We have more on training. We're going to get some tools and energy. This is crucial. Whatever, if you're a pro at what you're doing, if you just want to have an amazing life, if you want to be able to pursue hobbies, if you want to meet women, if you want to make money, everything. If you have a low battery, if you have low energy, life's going to suck big time. I'm going to give you right now some of the best and most easy to implement strategies, most effective strategies, how you can raise your natural energy production without being dependent on coffee, stimulants, or any other substances. Not that I'm against caffeine. I love my coffee, but it's a tool rather than a necessity. I know Kareem is with you also like looking out into routines and, like how to build a certain routine and everything. I'll just walk you through quickly what it looks like, how I structure my day and also the day of my clients for maximum efficiency to work together with the workout, to work together with your sleep schedule, with your commitments, with all of that, because we have to integrate into the day. So for this example, I'm going to assume you have, let's say in this situation, you wake up at 6 and you go by bed by 10. Adjust it to your day, right? Some people wake up a little bit earlier. Some people wake up a little bit later. Just adjust that, right? But the number one thing, or one of the most important things when it comes to having high energy levels, is an aligned circadian rhythm. Sounds super complicated again. A circadian rhythm is basically your inner clock. Your body has an inner clock that knows, okay, oh, now it's daytime, I have sunshine, right? Maybe you can see how the sun is almost shining in my face. At night, it's dark. This is signals. Light is signal for our body. When we wake up and go to bed, these are signals for our body. And if, just making the examples, if you go to bed at a different time every single day, sometimes at 7, sometimes at 2 a.m., then at midnight and all of that, you confuse your body and you disrupt it. You will never get real, proper, true quality sleep. So wherever you can, I would say 80% of the time, try to stick to a regular sleep schedule. That will make massive world's differences. Good. So how does it look like? Let's assume in this example, you wake up at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., whatever it is. Go into a bright environment and drink half a liter of warm water right away, because you have been dehydrated throughout the night, because obviously you haven't drank water for probably like 8-10 hours, probably something like that. So you need to rehydrate. You need to wake up your body. You need to activate your organs. And you do that, I would do light as much as you can, like switch on all the lights at home. And if you can, go out into the sun. That's like the best thing you can do. Sunlight in the first 2 hours of the day will make a crazy difference in your energy levels. Massive. So water and light in the morning. And then, of course, also pair it, if you can, with some movement. Can be a workout, but if you're more the type of guy that workouts, let's say around lunch or later in the day, that's also totally fine. Just like a little bit of a walk outside, right? To get blood flow going, to get some steps, to get some oxygen in your system, to get the body basically going, right? So we do the main things: hydrate, light, and movement, right? Can be a workout, can be simple steps. And then, because you don't need to have like food right away, you need to give your body a chance. I want you to hydrate first, and then minimum wait for 1 hour until you have your first meal. Gives you enough body to hydrate and not directly go again into digestion mode. So 6, wake up, hydrate. Let's say at 7 or at 8, you get your breakfast, then spread out your meals throughout the day. Like, it's ideal. That's why I'm making this example. Try to have your meals at a very, very similar time throughout the day, because that also goes into your circadian rhythm. If you eat sometimes no breakfast, and then at 12 your first meal, and then maybe nothing, and then, like again at 7 a.m., that's again disrupting your body. Our bodies like routine. Karim is big on routines. Our bodies like routine. We are creation of routines, and that's why it works so well for you. So try to find a time, like maybe take a pen and paper afterwards. Lay out your day for this example, right? You wake up at 7, 6, whatever it is. You have your breakfast. You have your lunch, usually at a similar time, and then you have dinner, usually at a similar time also. And to hydrate then also. And what is also really, really crucial down here, the difference, when you have dinner and before you go to bed, try to have minimum of 3 hours of no food before you go. Maybe sounds familiar. You had a hard work day, or you've had a game, you've been in a session, it took ages, and then you finish it, you're drained, you didn't have any food, you want to have like a big meal. You eat something to recharge, and then you go to bed immediately. This will fuck up your sleep big time. And this will then also disrupt your circadian rhythm, your inner clock, because you just had food, you go into digestion mode. Your body can't go into full recovery mode because you disrupt your recovery throughout the night, your day will be low energy. Caffeine has a half-life of 8 hours. A half-life means if you ingest a certain amount, let's say 100 milligrams, average coffee, after 8 hours, you have still 50% that half-life in your system. So after 8 hours, from that 100 milligrams, you still have 50 milligrams after 8 hours. It's a long time. Some people have certain genes that will metabolize that slower, will make it a little bit slower digesting or slower metabolizing it. What I would do, general rule of thumb, is having ideally 12 hours before you go to bed, no more caffeine. And if you feel like you tolerate it very well and your sleep and your energy and everything is great, you can maybe like go closer to like 8 hours. But I would never go closer to 8 hours, even if you're the type of guy, like I have many guys, I talk to a lot of people and they're like, You don't know me. We always get a double espresso after the meal and then go to sleep immediately. This is like saying I can have a couple of beers and then drive the car home. Well, yes, you might be able to, right? You maybe be able to drive the car home, but you'll objectively be in a worse position. You're objectively not in the full capacity to do that, to recover fully, to drive the car fully home. So even if you feel like it, you don't know how it would be. And for everybody that wants to do that, caffeine is a great substance. It's very helpful to like enhance focus, enhance performance. But if you do a lot of caffeine over time, like your body gets desensitized to it. So like the cup of coffee that the very first time hits you like a rocket, now today it's probably not going to do much. So what happens, or what you have to do is a caffeine desensitization phase. Usually 6 to 9 days. Let's do 7 for a minimum. No caffeine. The first 1-2 days, you will feel like shit. I can promise you. You're probably going to have headaches. You're going to have all of that. But that's going to allow your body to resensitize the receptors and will make you then again more receptive to caffeine. So that means after 7 days of no caffeine, and if you start introducing a cup of coffee where before you need to have for the same effect like 4 or 3, it will hit you again. And I can tell you, I just did a caffeine reset until like 2 days ago. I had my first coffee and I was flying. And that's where you get a really good relationship with coffee. I don't want you to be dependent on it and be like, oh yeah, this is a staple for me to feel normal. No, this is a bad position. What you want to be able to is like to feel good without it and then use coffee or caffeine as an enhancement, as a booster. You know, like when Super Mario like eats one of these mushrooms and like it jumps like in all different colors. That's how you can feel if you're like have a good relationship with caffeine. Do you recommend coffee or better tea? I mean, they're two different things. If you want to drink something later in the day, and it depends on the type of tea, black tea and green tea, they have some caffeine. So if you do a caffeine reset, do only other coffees like chamomile, mint, whatever. Coffee works fine. If you have, let's say, a longer session and you don't want to have this like peak and then this like it goes down again, green tea can be good because it has a little bit of a slower release of the caffeine, and you have a little bit, you don't feel as energized as you would do with coffee, but it's like more sustained. Guarana is also like, by the way, you can get that in powder form, very slow releasing, powerful tool. Now, how to maximize your energy. Like I already gave you a little bit of an overview how I would structure the day. Really key things. Blue light. We all work on screens. Some of you, I know, like a lot of you do online, a lot of you do also like in person. When you are on the screen for a long time into the night and you're exposed to the blue light that comes from your screen, you will signal your body it's daytime because the light that comes from your screen is not the same, but it has similar particles as the sunlight. So it signals your body it's daytime, wake up time, and it will stop your melatonin production. Melatonin is the sleep hormone. And to counteract that, so it doesn't happen to you, use either the night shift mode. You all have that on your phone. You all have that on your computer, 100%. Ideally, switch it on from like 7, maybe 8 p.m. or wear blue light blocking glasses. I don't have mine right here, but they look very funny. Basically glasses with some orange tinted glass. Powerful tool. Really, really powerful. Keep your sleep environment dark, cool, and quiet. Dark, blackout curtains. Not that a little bit of light goes into you. Cool, 19 degrees is ideal and quiet. So if you live at a noisy street, what I do, I put on earplugs. And if I don't have blackout curtains, I use a sleep mask. It looks funny, but it's a powerful, massive tool. Switch your electronic devices off. So if you have a Wi-Fi router, a phone, you can put it on airplane mode. Switch your Wi-Fi router off at night. You don't need that, but it's going to disrupt your sleep too. And if you have a TV in your bedroom or so, the most ideal is to like get it out of the bedroom and put it where it belongs into the living room, or you unplug it. Because before I went into nutrition, I actually studied electrobiology, which is a combination of electromagnetic radiation and waves and the impact on human biology. That's what was my gateway to health. These things have a powerful impact on our sleep, negative powerful impact. So ideally anything in your bedroom, switch it off. If you have a Wi-Fi or a smart home system with like everything is connected with Bluetooth, try to time that so it switches off at night. Really, really powerful. We said that already, limit caffeine to 12 hours before bed, latest 8 hours, right? If you want to have substances that like enhance your focus a little bit more, what can be done a little bit closer to bedtime will be nicotine. So you can do like nicotine patches or nicotine gum. This is also like a cognitive enhancer. Don't smoke, not a good idea. But nicotine is a powerful tool if you don't want to have caffeine. And these are like like powerful things. I had guys that like rated their sleep quality on like a 3 out of 10. And just by doing that, they went to 8 and 9 out of 10. No fancy supplements, no crazy bedtime routines, like meditating for 3 hours, which is like not against it, but this is the big ones. Now, 20%, they give you 80% of the results. 2 hard workouts per week, all you need. 3 to 4 liters of water daily to hydrate your body, to give your body also the fuel. Water is a nutrient. Water is an essential nutrient. Give yourself enough. 6 to 10,000 steps a day. Eat 80% of the time with purpose, intentionally, not just like whatever comes in front of you, right? There are meal prep services. There are healthy options that you can just like prepare meals, and you just have to heat them up, that are very well balanced. Instead of like microwave currywurst or whatever, you have one of these. Simple. I can hook you up with all of that if you want. Avoid hyper-processed foods and saturated trans fats. Hyper-processed means cookies, donuts, everything that went through multiple processing stages, and that is ultimately, you can't really tell what was the original food. That is usually a good sign of like hyper-processed food. Stick to a regular sleep pattern.